Right, I know. Another deep dive into ancient history. But this one's about Solomon.
Great.
And trust me, this guy, he was way more than just, a king in a dusty old book. This is about strategy. It's about leadership.
Yeah.
It's even maybe about being a little bit of a global tycoon, even back then.
Yeah.
We're going to be unpacking a script that breaks down Solomon's reign. It's all there in 1 Kings, chapters 4 through 9. And you're going to be surprised by how relevant his story is. I mean, even today.
It is interesting how these, ancient figures,
right,
people we think of as almost like mythical, can actually offer some really practical lessons in leadership and wisdom.
Yeah.
Even just like building something that lasts.
In the script, it starts by painting this picture of Solomon as like a master organizer.
Okay.
And I mean, this guy, he inherited a pretty massive kingdom from his father, David.
Yeah.
But he didn't just, sit back and enjoy the perks of being king.
Right.
He went to work and he knew how to structure things to be successful.
Like what kinds of things did he do?
Well, right from the start. I mean, you see this strategic mind. He divides the kingdom into 12 districts.
Wow.
Each of them responsible for supplying the royal court.
Oh, wow.
For a month out of the year.
Huh. So like a rotating...
It's more than just, keeping the pantry stocked.
Yeah.
It's about creating a system that makes sure there's a steady flow of resources.
Okay.
So it reduces the burden on any one region.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And it fosters this sense of shared responsibility across the kingdom.
Smart. That's really smart.
It's like ancient supply chain management.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
So it wasn't just, about collecting taxes. It was about optimizing the entire system.
Totally. And when you think about the logistics of managing a territory like ancient Israel.
Right.
The trade routes and the agriculture.
Keeping it safe.
Maintaining security. I mean, this kind of structure, it was crucial. And honestly, it's a testament to how much Solomon thought ahead.
Yeah.
And his planning.
Yeah.
I mean, that this system, it worked.
So Solomon the organizer, check. But the script, it also highlights this incredible relationship with Hiram, the king of Tyre. I mean, talk about a power alliance.
Right.
This wasn't just some casual partnership.
Right.
This was like deep-rooted, built on generations of trust.
I mean, you got to remember, Hiram, he was a close ally of David.
Yeah.
Solomon's father.
Yeah.
And that kind of loyalty.
Yeah.
And that continuity. I mean, across generations. Remarkable.
And it wasn't just a symbolic friendship either.
Right.
Hiram, he provided Solomon with all the essential resources. I mean, we're talking top quality cedar.
Oh, wow.
Cypress timber from the forests of Lebanon for building the legendary temple.
You could just swing by the Home Depot to pick up some lumber.
No, this was a big deal.
Big deal.
And it just shows you build genuine relationship.
Yeah.
The long-term benefits, personally and professionally.
I mean, think about your own relationships.
Right.
Your key relationships. How do they contribute to your success?
Yeah.
Do you take care of them? The way Solomon and Hiram did.
It really makes you think. Okay, so let's talk about the temple.
Okay.
Because this was no ordinary construction project.
Right.
The script, it points out, that it took a full 7 years to build this thing.
7 years.
7 years.
Wow.
And every single detail, from the materials to the design, meticulously planned, executed perfectly. This wasn't just, a building for Solomon. It was a sacred mission. This was a physical manifestation of his faith.
Really?
And his desire to create a lasting legacy.
Wow.
And speaking of legacy, the script also mentions Solomon's palace.
Oh, yeah.
Took 13 years to build.
13 years. That's longer than the temple.
Longer than the temple. So, excellence, it seems like that was his standard.
Like no matter what he was doing.
No matter the project.
He was setting a new bar.
Yeah.
Like craftsmanship and dedication.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
What are sacred spaces? Those things that we pour our hearts into. Are we striving for that level of excellence in everything?
So we've got Solomon, master organizer, skilled diplomat, champion of excellence.
Yeah.
But here's where the story, it takes a really interesting turn. Picture this. The temple. It's finally finished.
Okay.
Solomon gathers all the leaders of Israel.
Wow.
This incredible sense of occasion, right?
Yeah.
And then he delivers this incredibly powerful prayer.
Oh, wow. At the dedication.
At the dedication ceremony.
I bet that was something.
This prayer, as it's described in 1 Kings,
Yeah.
it's really remarkable. It's not just a plea for, personal blessings.
Right.
It's this heartfelt expression of gratitude, humility, and acknowledging a power greater than himself.
People still study this prayer today, don't they?
Even today, for its insights into leadership, faith,
Yeah.
the human condition.
And it wasn't just about, like, him, you
Yeah.
know? It was about the whole nation.
Yeah.
Right.
He was seeking guidance for the people.
Yeah.
Atonement for their shortcomings.
Yeah.
Even success in battle. It really it highlights how complex the role of faith is in leadership.
It really did.
Then and now.
It really makes you wonder, how has that role changed?
Yeah.
Like, how do leaders now, how do they navigate faith, values, and being responsible, publicly?
Right.
And how do we, like, as individuals, how do we connect with something bigger than ourselves?
Yeah.
In a world that can feel so uncertain.
That's a great question.
It is. Yeah, it's a big question. And, as we kind of go deeper into Solomon's reign, we see that he wasn't just focused on, like, internal stuff. The script, it paints this picture of him.
Yeah.
As a global influencer.
Wait, a global influence?
Long before social media.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Are you saying this ancient king, he was like a business tycoon globally?
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
But how did that even work back then?
Solomon, he understood how important trade was.
Okay.
And international relations. So he built this fleet of ships.
Wow.
Set up these trade routes, across huge distances.
Wow.
And he made these connections with rulers from all these different lands.
So it was more than just, buying and selling stuff.
Way more.
It was about, like, building a network.
Yeah.
And expanding his influence globally.
Exactly. And people, they were drawn to Solomon, not just because he was wealthy.
Right.
Or powerful. It was his wisdom. Scholars, dignitaries, even royalty.
Really?
From all over the known world, they flocked to Jerusalem just to learn from him.
It's like the ancient version of a TED Talk or something. Except people were traveling for, like, months.
Yeah.
Maybe even years, just to hear him speak.
And, one of the most famous stories is the Queen of Sheba.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of her.
She traveled from this really distant land, probably somewhere in modern-day Yemen, with this huge caravan filled with gifts, just to meet Solomon.
Wow. That's dedication.
And to, like, test his wisdom.
Really? How did she do that?
Riddles.
Questions.
Questions.
That's a long way to go for a Q&A.
It is. But you know what's interesting?
What?
She wasn't just impressed by his wealth or his fancy palace. It was his intelligence.
So she, like, really respected his mind.
She did. That ability to solve problems and give insightful advice. It speaks to something,
To what?
The power of real wisdom. It goes beyond culture. It speaks to something deep inside us.
Like what?
That desire for knowledge, understanding, guidance, to help navigate life.
Yeah. Makes you think about your own legacy.
Right.
What do you want to be remembered for? Your stuff. Or how you impacted people.
That's a big question. And it gets to, like, the core of Solomon's story.
Yeah.
What can we learn from him that we can use in our own lives?
Oh, wait.
Our jobs, our relationships.
I think one of the biggest takeaways is seeking wisdom.
Yeah.
It's not just about, knowing a lot of stuff.
Right.
Or being smart. It's about using that knowledge to make good choices, lead with integrity, make a positive impact on the world.
Totally. But as we go further into the script, we see that even Solomon, wise as he was, he had challenges. He made mistakes.
Really?
So his story, it's not just about success.
Right.
It's also a warning about what can happen when you lose sight of your values.
So Solomon wasn't so perfect after all.
Well, it's not about being perfect. It's about human nature.
Yeah.
Even for someone known for his wisdom. Remember that deal with God?
Oh, yeah. Or God bless Solomon.
Right. But it was conditional. Stay on the right path, and you'll be blessed.
So did he? Did Solomon stray from the path?
Sadly, yes.
Oh, what happened?
As he got more wealth more power.
Yeah.
He started to indulge. The script talks about how he built up this huge harem, allowed people to worship other gods right there in Jerusalem.
No way.
And he put these heavy taxes on everyone.
Really?
Just to fund his lavish lifestyle.
Wow. This is the same guy, the wise, just strategic leader.
It's kind of disappointing, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
But it shows us something. Even the most gifted people, we can all be tempted. Power, wealth, they can corrupt. And it seems Solomon, even with all his wisdom, he wasn't immune.
So what are we supposed to learn from this? That we're all doomed to make the same mistakes?
Not exactly. I think the real lesson here is about staying grounded, remembering what matters most, even when you're successful.
Right.
It's about having people around you who keep you in check. And who'll challenge you when you start going off track.
It's a good reminder for anyone. No matter what you're trying to achieve, you can be talented, you can be smart.
Yeah.
But if you lose your moral compass, it can all fall apart. Yeah, it's a tough lesson, but it's a real one. It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about knowing we all mess up, learning from it, trying to do better.
And that brings us back to that question. Where do we turn for guidance? I mean, if Solomon, with all his wisdom and God's favor, if he could make mistakes, it just shows you we all need some kind of compass, something to help us figure things out in life and as leaders.
So where do we even find that? I mean, is it faith, mentors, just looking inward? What does the script say?
It's not that simple.
Okay.
And I actually think that's on purpose.
Okay.
It's making us think about our own sources of wisdom. For Solomon, at first, it was God. He had that close relationship, sought guidance from God. But then as he moved away from those principles, his judgment, it wasn't so good anymore.
So it's not enough just to have access to wisdom.
Right.
You got to actively look for it.
You have to be open to it.
Yeah.
And then actually use it.
Use it to make decisions.
Every day.
Yeah.
And that's something you do for your whole life. It's not like you arrive and you're done.
Right.
It's about staying humble, knowing you don't know everything, and being willing to learn.
To learn from everything, the good and the bad.
Exactly. It's like that saying, the only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing.
So true. You got to be open to learning and growing.
All the time.
Yeah.
And have those people in your life who support you, challenge you when you need it, help you, stick to your values, especially when things get tough.
Man, this has been quite the deep dive.
It has.
We started with Solomon, this almost mythical king.
Yeah.
And we ended up with these real human lessons about leading, about being wise, about the challenges of staying true to yourself.
In a world that's constantly trying to pull you off track.
It's amazing to me. I mean, this story, it's thousands of years old.
I know.
But stuff Solomon dealt with, it's still so relevant.
It is. The desire for power, staying true to yourself, finding guidance. These are things we all struggle with.
So as we wrap things up, I want to hear from you. What stuck with you from Solomon's story? What are your big takeaways about leadership, wisdom? Where do you turn for guidance? Share your thoughts, your questions, everything down in the comments.
Let's keep talking about this. Learn from each other.
Because that's what this whole deep dive is about. Taking these old stories, these bits of wisdom, and using them today to help us become better leaders, more insightful, more effective, more grounded.
I like that.
In our own lives. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Solomon's legacy. We'll see you next time.